Good morning from Yummy B TV. Wishing you all well, sending loads of love to you as usual. Got a busy day today. Something really important and lovely is happening. Because remember, I broke up with members of my family after mum died a couple of years ago, sadly. But glad to say there are some reunions taking place. And I'm looking forward to that today, if you get what I mean. So we're back to getting up early. The sleep pattern's getting better. A little bit still, a bit croaky, but we are getting ready for January and liftoff because I've got a backlog of stuff that I'm going to hit first, if you get what I mean, especially with the interviews and some real stuff. I'm being really serious, you know. Some of the stuff you're going to hear, especially from one person about the cat A's, some I've talked about it already, but that will be absolutely massive and will shed light on a lot of the things that we've talked about on Yummy BTV and the system itself, how unkind it is, even for some of the workers that work there. If you get what I mean, these environments are really serious. I reiterate, those category A's are absolute jungles where only the fittest survive. You have to be savvy about it all. You can come on top for you at any time. Now, before I get into the fear side and survival techniques and whatnot, and how it works for me and the best ways and the thinking skills behind danger signs and danger things that happen on a daily basis in there, and to keep yourself safe as well. Many of you have been asking about my training methods. So I forgot who you was. There's a good few of you, but it started in those 80s. When I told you some of you before in the 80s, when I started, because I was always a footballer and I always used to do my circuits. I always used to do my running. Now, then I decided I used to look at Beefy, Clive Wilson and Hippolyte and Kenny Kane and what the light-skinned boy Roy and that Will Roach, Stretch, all those guys, and Del Croxton, Frank Rudd, all of them were great lifters, man. You know what I mean? And I used to look on the sidelines and think, wow, I want to be doing all that someday, if you get what I mean. Nookie Bandit from Junction as well, another big lifter, heavy, another geezer called, no, we won't mention his name because I've got to look for something funny in the end. But when I first started, right, before the Queen's pardon, right, I just started around that time. So Wandsworth them days, like, Gary Taylor would have to come and get you specifically. If he liked you, if he thought you had talent, or he thought you were serious about going to the gym, he would come and unlock you in the evenings and say, look, you got an hour to come down and train. So first of all, you get a baller. You got to do baller first before you can qualify for the powerlifting. So the baller is like a smaller grade of things where you do like high pulls, upright rows, press by neck, squats, bicep curls, but you do them one after the other. And if you complete them properly, you pass, and then you're ready to move on to the powerlifting stage, which is the gradings. I think it's brown, brown, blue, brown, black, bronze, silver, and gold. I might have missed one colour in the beginning, but the main ones are bronze, silver, and gold. But black, getting a black badge in them days was a good badge to have, because in the old days, you'd have to get black 1, black 2, black 3 before you get your bronze. So that to change the points totals, because it used to be too much to get at your own body weight. So like in the beginning of time, like for a 67 kilo man or 70 kilo man, your total for a black would be like 600 kilo. So now, obviously, getting the 600 kilo would get you a bronze or silver or gold, or that would be because they stopped the 2 and 3, so you just do black 1 now and get to bronze. But in the old days, you had to do brown 1, 2, and 3. So the scores to reach to get those to be in the game were much harder to get. So they had to change the rules for that, I think, because they realised it was a bit unrealistic, if you get what I mean. Someone told me the other day I could turn off my notifications. I've got to do that. Thank you for reminding me about that. So when I joined the baller, after the baller, when I joined the powerlifting team, you had all different sides. You had the the 90 kilo bracket. 4 of them, Beefy, Nookie, Roy, all the big lumps were on Del Croxton. They were on like one level there. Then you got 2 level there, which would be the 80 kilo bracket. Then you'd have the 70 kilo bracket. Then you'd have the 60 kilo bracket. Kenny Kane was like he was a co-defendant on one of mine. That went wrong with him, to be honest. But he's one of the greatest lifters of all time. He was about 52 kilos and could pick up 200 kilos and squat it as well, right? They took him to the European Championships and he absconded. And when he came back, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Taylor and all them, Mr. DeSuter, and they took him in the room and give him a kicking. Because they wanted him to come to the championships. In the end, Hippolyte ended going to one of those big championship things and winning as well. He was probably the greatest lifter of all time, in some people's opinion. But I told you already, my greatest lifter of all time would have to be Beefy Clive Wilson, because it was all natural. Anyway, I started my powerlifting, and on certain days, Taylor would put up little notes saying what you had to do. So if it was squat day, he'll say 4 times a warm-up of 10 with the 20s, and then you do 100 kilo, 10 reps at 20, for 100 kilo for 10, or 8, and then you move into 120, say, 120 kilo for 6 or 5. Then you go to the 3 plates, that you'd have to do 4 set of 5 or 5 set of 6. So then every week now you go, like the next day, 2 days later, obviously it'd be the bench workout, it'd be the deadlift workout. My bench, I always had a big chest, but my bench I always had problems with. So I only ever reached about 120, but it didn't matter because I was lighter and I always had a big squat and a big deadlift to make up the points, if you get what I mean. So that's how it started for me with the training. So the methods of 5 sets of 6 and 3, and so I was still doing my sports and football and stuff like that. But the mass that you develop as a youngster, when you get older, that maturity of muscle, where a lot of men like do bodybuilding, you notice, yeah, their muscles are big and everything. But when you, it feels hard and everything, but it's not dense muscle. Like from years of training, like your lower back, they used to put their hands in my lower back, right? Certain men, you know, like the lower back thing there, they put their fingers in there and pull it, because the hunches of the back from those bent over rows. Like I do bent over rows with the 1-arm row and then do my deadlifts. But then certain times Gary Taylor will get you doing deadlifts off the block, like make a block there and a block there, and you have to stand on there, so the higher up, so you get used to holding it, so that when you go lower, it's easy to fly back. All little techniques they used to use that way, which were well taught by a man that won the world's strongest world champion a couple of times, Gary Taylor, and respected by all inmates. Let me tell you that this guy was as fair as can be, as long as you was fair with him. He always used to say to me, Yami, you fuck about too much. You've got what it takes. Blah blah blah. Right? So, but of course, I was still up and down at that time. Then the Queen's Pardon thing happened, so I was still in Wandsworth. Then my butt started to build up. I got to different grades, and then they got me into not the main team, powerlifting team of Beefy Del Croxton. Del Croxton was a good man, you know. He died in prison. Big geezer with glasses, would have it with anyone. A proper geezer who didn't like bullies, right? He used to say to me, Frank Rudden used to say to me, one day you're going to be champion. You're natural. Because the first time I did deadlift, I picked up 190, like without even training. Like I went like that, woof. He went, fucking hell. You know what I mean? And I was only 67 kilos, so I didn't have that natural little thing at first. So they put me in a competition for the best of the rest to see who could join the main team. I was telling what happened that day. I deadlifted 220. I wasn't even training for 3 weeks. I think I was down the block or something. They come and got me. And then I lifted, and I went bang, and it come up. You know when you're hyped, because the whole crowd is watching in the hall in the old Wandsworth days, and many people were in that little tournament there, right? But I won it. I won that one and got into the main team. So by that stage, probably I was on about black 1, right? So my total was something like 500 or 490, 500. But you know, my eye was on getting to 600. Big 600 kilo, the combination of, like, if you do a 220 deadlift, 220 squat, and a 120 bench, you're talking 560. So I would have to find another 40 kilo to reach 600, 610 or something to reach my gold. So I'd have to find a 10 on the deadlift, a 10 on, you know what I mean, an extra 5 on the bench. You'd have to work it out somewhere, but it's very difficult to do, especially on a prison diet. We're all living on bread and water. But that day, Gary Taylor said that I was the fastest deadlifter because I just used to get panic and go, oh God, I've got to pick it up. And I used to just flicked it up, not even with a belt on, right? Flash Harry Yammy. So I'll pick that up. So then obviously after the Queen's pardon, we know what happened there. They gave me the move to Downsview. That's when I was with me and Jimmy Uzzy, the great Jimmy Uzzy, the train robber, Wisby, all of them. Sydney Hussein was there. Frank Rudd was there. Who else was there? Some big names. Some other big names. Joey Olive was there. Me and Joey Olive used to train. And a geezer called Stefan, a Yugoslavian geezer. Pretty nifty he was. Me and him was partners, training partners. Yeah, but a serious geezer. But I was only a youngster. They were looking out for me. So I started training harder in Downsview. I stopped smoking cigarette and everything. I used to go for my runs every day. Jimmy Uzzy and me, we used to walk around the yard every day and talk about football and other things and whatnot and everything. But I was close to Jimmy Uzzy. Yeah. Jimmy Uzzy, I class as a great friend of mine, right? From when I was little. I knew all about Freddie Foreman, what Jimmy told me. I knew all about all those figures that we all talk about. I knew about all those figures long before I met them because Jimmy Uzzy used to tell me, not like tell me thing, but he used to tell little stories. And I used to nudge him and say, who do you think, Jim, is my man? Because they say that, what's his name? And that one and this one. And he used to say, yeah, it's not that, mate. Go, Freddie Foreman's the governor, mate. Don't worry about that. Don't you listen to me, son. And he used to say straight up and down. That's how he used to talk. That time, Roy Hilder, I told you about him, how we became besties. But the training methods, right, I continued for a lifetime. Even when I started taking drugs in the 90s after the Queen's pardon, right? And obviously it used to set me back because of the eating and that kind of stuff. I always used to do my sixes, even with curls and the clean and press, do 5 sets of 8 with the 20s and 30s. And sometimes when I was on form, I did the 40s for 2, 3, 4, 5 reps. I used to reach these. But then as time went on, I got to doing the circuits with the strength training. So when the cage fighters, Kim, not Jimmy, you know who else, there was others there, and they were doing their training, right? This is years and years later, anyway. So when I got into, I was already established, the muscle mass was there from all the training over the years. I used to do my pull-ups with the weights and that kind of stuff. Still go for I used to do, mine was more explosive, like run, like you know, like sprinters kind of training, but I used to mix it all around. Now with those circuits, we used to have a box where you put on the side. You've seen them in the gyms where you do your burpee, jump onto the box, jump up, sit down, jump back down, jump back on, and then go and do weights, and then go and jump back on the box, which makes the muscles, they're burning. But with that muscle that I already had mixed with that, I was, it made you ready. You were ready for battle. Because many men who just go gym and just do a bit of bench and thing, you're not physically supreme with your heart and, you know, putting yourself through the paces of that kind of jumping up and down and going from one thing to another for 45 minutes straight or an hour. Then, you know what I mean, with weights, jumps, sits, off the box, the bike, come back, everything on a time limit as well. So that kind of training I went through. So when I got the injuries, when I was paralyzed, they said you're not going to walk or thing again. Those muscles were in fact held me up. And I believe they saved me up till today. So that's how it started for me, and it continued throughout all my life in there and up to today. When I take off my top, people look and they say, you're still ripped up to, that's all them years of training. Because when you do all that when you're younger, when you're older, if you put yourself through the mill, that muscle will stay. You know what I mean? Always remember to stretch as well, that kind of stuff. But anyway, the other question about the fear and survival and the thing. So you look back and we talk about the hit thing where that happened in there, right? I didn't really want to name the geezer, but it's a coloured geezer and it's a big name, right? But I feel ashamed of it all, to be honest, right? So when you it's all right. Some of you saying, yeah, but Yami, is it fronting? The survival skills, the fear though, you feel scared and fear. Yeah, but the fear will always be there. when battle goes, right? Tony and all them, Quincy, John, when they set off on battles, and Ben, and they set off, they're just going to just, you know what I mean, just to weigh you in. They're not taking, they're not thinking about it. With me, my tactics of knowing that it could go off at this time because I'm doing funny things and all that. So I go out with the fear, but I go out with the worst case scenario. That if I can't bob and weave out of it, I'm left with the tools. Sadly, you know what I mean? It's not the right way to live, but to survival skills is the way it is. So the confronting and fronting and acting and going in and saying, yeah, I'm brave, yeah, yeah, so what are you saying? I did it. There's only so long you can do that for. The only reason that people won't swing, or if they're after you, or they want you, or if you're a target for them, and you haven't done the things that I've done, bad things I've done, they don't know you. So as far as they're concerned, you're not nobody, and they'll beat you up and take liberties and cut you, and they could cut me, but they're always going to be apprehensive and weary, because whether I'm fronting or not on that day, or not, or if I'm really serious, either way I do it, you have to believe in your head, well done. He might be serious because he done that to him. I witnessed that day when we was in the Cat A's, when Roger and John and everybody was there, and me and someone fell out, and there was 3 hits on me all at once. One with the yardies up there, 2 of them Jamaicans, another geezer. So they all joined, they all come to the jail at the same time. But the good thing is that all them 3 didn't get on with each other. So when I was lying downstairs, I was thinking, that's when Chrissy Boyle, the other hitman, and Steady from Manchester, right? Like proper stuff, Steady. He was a legendary hitman as well. Proper stuff. He Game Boy, my boy from Manchester, right? So then they was all down, they come down to me. And I said, John Chrissy Boyle, he said to me, Yami, if they offer you a hit on me, if they don't take it. I said, if they offer one on you, I won't take it either. I went, all right then, I'll leave it. I goes, why? Have you been approached? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, Steady went like, said to say, yeah, I mean, you know how it works, man. You know they're all up there. I was in Whitemore. You remember when you done that? So he's never going to forget that. Right. So they got to be panicky. They're all dealers. So you got to go and deal with people. But if you're going to ask someone to do the hit on me, you've got to make sure that they're not going to run back and tell me. So I'm lying downstairs for about 3-4 days. I'm thinking, I don't trust you. You've got gear. That other one over there, you and him have got beef. So you're not really talking. So he don't like me either because I've done something to him, but he might put a hit out on me as well. Right? So they don't have to join forces to do it because they got their own fight. So he's got to worry about him. He's still thinking about me. So they've got other things on their mind as well, which is how it runs. So one morning, I went up there. So I went past Rog. I said, Rog, nah, mate, I'm going in. We go in there. So I went in there, pushed up the door. I said to him, I said, yeah, give me 3 of them things. Yeah? All right, three Joeys, right? Sadly. So give me 3 of them things. I'm just looking at him. He goes, yeah, Yami, man. He goes, you can have that, Yami. You can have that. Watch that, Yami, man. That was a long time ago. What am I watching? Yeah. All right. Because I'm thinking, you're going to buy, you know, you might think that I know already that you're plotting on me, but you're feeding me to keep me happy so that my mind gets taken away and thinking that everything's settled between me and you, but at the same time, you got a plan to get rid of me. So then the time came, of course, not with him. So I was doing it to all 3 of them at the same time. So when I was lying down there every morning, I wouldn't sleep now some nights. I remember Danger used to say to me, Yami, Danger used to say, Yami, it's like you got a plan every day. I said, I effing have to, Danger. So I went up on the 3 of them. Every morning I went up and, yeah, can I have one of them things, please? Yeah, man. Yeah. Take that. Yeah. Everything cool, Yam? Yeah. Leave it. So one of them days now, Roger and John and everybody's around, and I said, nah, it's on. Because he approached, I won't say whether it's Chrissy Ball or Steady, but they come back and told, Yami, my man just offered me, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah. Wow. You think I'm just going to sit back and wait for, because obviously they're not going to do it now. So I don't have to worry about them two, but that don't mean nothing to me because he could easily find someone else. So I had to go up there. So Roger and all them and John and Dave waiting, saying, yeah, I said, nah, man. I said, no, I don't need no one. This time Roger's got a little bit of trouble over the same old bollocks mix up that even just been going on for years and years. Certain talk about, man, I don't want to listen to it. Don't care about it. You know what I mean? All I care is it was my pal, you know what I mean? Roger says to me, Hammy, listen, him, the blah, blah, blah. But he's got to go. I said, yeah, he's got to go, Roger. All right, he's got to go. He goes, don't take no chance. Hammy, don't take, it's not that. Because I don't fucking views. I just went straight to the hot water. I went straight to the hot water, and I'm sorry to laugh. I filled up the jug. I mixed it up with sugar, right? I said, fuck it then. I ain't waiting for him to attack me. You know what I mean? But he saw me, Roger, and John whispering, you know what I mean, and talking and all that. And but really, John and all them, they didn't want to get involved. They tried to talk me about Roger. We just might tell me to mind myself. So as I got the jug full, the geezer's come. So he's coming, but he's wrapped up like he's got armory on him, right? So he walks past me. I'm looking at him. The jug's nearly full, and I've gone D, and then he turned around and he run to the office. So I tried to run behind him to throw it, right? No, I tried to throw it. He dived over the what's it called? The office door, because it's always half done kind of thing. And he dived over the office door into there, and I had to double back. All the water was on the floor and everything. Like I missed though, so I never really got him. But the truth is, it's very, very fearful. You could front as much as you want to try and skate through, like you're this and you're that and that. Oh, I'm like this, I can have it, and you're gonna be tested. Those guys won't play about with you. If you ain't got no history and they haven't seen you do things, or they know you ain't got the bottle, you can say you've got the bottle, you can say you can fight, you can say you can stab people, you can say you're the greatest and rare. You ain't shown them yet. So by fronting, you're going to be, you do. Every man gets fearful before battle. But those other guys that are more physical, better, more than me, they got it inside of them straight away. Theirs is built on anger. You know what I mean? Their anger is too quick and too thin. There's not enough time for them to think about being fearful and all that. But me, I feel fearful, but sometimes it's a good thing to have because you don't. You know what I mean? You've got to tread carefully. It means that you have to get serious. The minute you feel jumpy and you feel like you're in danger, some of those men waited, and when you wait too long, it can happen. But that's why I tell you to stay away from those places. They are serious places where serious damage can happen to you, and you will get tested. Those that have lived in those places for years and years, when you're a newcomer or whatever, and you only know this one and that, they're watching. They don't talk a lot, but they're watching and they're thinking, "Oh, you're a target. I can take out my sentence on you because I know that I'm not getting out." So they want to come for you and test you. But one moment of weakness by certain men, they're watching the predators. They're watching to see if your bottle goes and how it went and all that. So that when it comes, they're thinking, so you're not all that. So they can make their self look good by doing you or challenging you or saying, yeah, what are you saying? Like, do it. Yeah, and you're scared. But then we also see men who bottle it, who are scared, who are fearful, who back down for periods of time. And one of those days, they produce what matters most in there is that you're a survivor and that you yourself can turn the clock back and then go and do what you got to do. But that is the jungle, part one. And those are the training methods as well, like the circuits thing. Any more questions on the fitness and strength, Uncle Yami will answer for you. Have a great day. Sending loads of love.